What's happening, my people? What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Wednesday. Y'all know what day it is. It's SW Live. What's happening, y'all? What's going on, my people? We are going to be talking about sensitivity today. And I want everybody to buckle your seatbelts because this is going to be a hell of a ride. And that's only because we got to delve into sensitivity a little bit. And I know a lot of people just feel like, you just sensitive, you too sensitive, you just this, you just that. It's some relevances, some key issues, and sometimes something just a little bit more than what you think it is that may be going on with the person that gives them that notion that they may be a little too sensitive. It's your idea of it. It has nothing to do with them, more than none. So thank y'all for tuning in. Welcome to another episode. Let's get it going. We're going to start off by bringing on our quote of the day. Bring that up. Okay. The quote of the day is sensitivity is your strength. Keep soaking in the light and spreading it to others. Now, for people who have the idea that being sensitive is guarded and wrong, you may have a leg to stand on with that. For people who feel like being sensitive is okay and it helps you deal with certain issues, you may have a leg to stand on with that. It could be a little of both. You don't always have to have one key concept or one key thing that describes what an issue is or what something is or what an emotion is or any of those vortexes. It's different ways to be able to accept what things mean. So sensitivity is your strength. Keep soaking in the light and spreading it to others. That just lets us know that whoever did come up with that quote, that they don't have a problem with being open-mindedly sensitive and empathetic to people. Because you have to in life, if depending on whatever your background is, what if you're a parent, if you have to go, if you work, whatever your position of work is, there are ways that you're going to have to be sensitive and empathetic to people's feelings and to who people are in general, because different backgrounds, different cultures bring different experiences. So I do think that this quote stands on two legs of sensitivity is your strength. Keep soaking in the light and spreading to others. I do think that it has two legs to stand on with that, because in certain issues, in certain instances, you do have to be sensitive. It just has to happen. If you don't even want to believe it, you cannot just be a person that's just benign and walking around this world just like hardcore mean. And if you are that way, more than likely you don't have people. You don't have people to rely on. You don't have people to lean on. You don't have that. You don't get that from people because you don't want to give that to people. So yeah, I don't know. I think that somebody like that that a hardcore exterior only works for certain issues. Okay. But this is the part of the quote that made me be like, when they say keep soaking in the light and spreading it to others, you can't spread sensitivity. You can't. That's not really if you can't really spread that. And hear me out. You're born with your sensitive organs. You're born with your sensitive senses. But a lot of us are just a little bit more sensitive than others. However, you are born with this feeling, this way to be. Already, this is inside of you when you come onto this earth. So when oftentimes and none saying that you're spreading sensitivity, what? Like, you just being yourself, right? Or are you getting caught up in something else? Like, you let something else lead your mindset on that? Because I'm confused as to how you can, like, just take sensitivity and just spread it around. You can't even be sensitive to all situations. Sensitivity is even a situational thing. It doesn't just happen with everything. So I don't know, that part of the quote did make me like, but the beginning of it, it definitely can be your strength. I do believe sensitivity can be a strength. I don't think that it has to be something that just completely has to, it doesn't have to be waver. It doesn't have to waver. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's the quote of the day. All right. So we're going to jump into the topic, y'all. We're going to be talking about sensitivity today. And oftentimes there are bigger, trigger. There are trigger words when it comes to negating a person's feelings, disregarding them, or even ignoring what the person is communicating, just to make them feel like they are small in the situation. This is deemed as emasculation. And it's not just against men. So emasculation, anyway, any form of trying to strip a person of who they are and trying to give people the opportunity to just be themselves, and you're in everything you do, you're emasculating them with it. Like you're coming up with trigger words, trigger meanings, trigger this, trigger that, things that will affect the person's day to day because of it coming from someone that they care about. And then it's one thing to see certain things being said in the media, in the social media world, but then to also turn around and give people that in their home, in their relationships, in their friendships, it just seems like it's cruel. So we're trying to avoid having any issues with giving people the opportunity to be themselves. We're trying to avoid that. And if you're really, really keen and strong in who you are, then it's going to be very, very easy to be able to, what's up, Dennis? It's going to be very, very easy to be able to understand and be open like that to other people. It's going to be able to be that way. It wouldn't be any issue at all to be able to have understanding for a person who's showing any type of sensitivity. So there are highly sensitive people in this universe. We cross the threshold daily with dealing with certain different backgrounds and different experiences, and just culturally, or just how people was raised. You can have people raised right here in your city that just have different views on things. So you have to be very, very understanding to the views, and giving people the opportunity to have their own viewpoint. Like, you can't always just be like, nah, that's wrong, bro. Like, you can't tell people they wrong about everything. It's sometimes people wrong. Sometimes. And even when they wrong, depending on who the person is, at some point it's like, all right, if they ain't listening to what I said before about the being wrong, they probably don't give a damn what I think anyway. So beep. So, but and a lot of times you're going to have, if you're in a friendly situation, a friendly conversation, a friendly atmosphere, you're going to be able to experience a real person that's accepting what you're giving them, just like you're going to be able to accept what they're giving you. That's hand in hand. But there are highly sensitive people, and a highly sensitive person is actually sensitive to sensory input, other people in social situations and circumstances in their environment as well. So anything that they are coherently dealing with, they probably have some type of sensitivity to it. However, it's because of the different characteristics that sensitive people fall under. And you'll find a lot of times that sensitive people are people pleasers. They have an overstimulation for certain things or whatever, and they quickly feel overstimulated by loud noises, being rushed, entering crowded spaces, like they got to breathe sometimes. And anything that's unexpected will give a person that has high sensitive organs that feeling of I'm being closed in on. I feel attacked. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they'll be in conversation. If you're not giving them the floor and giving them the opportunity to be themselves and be able to speak their mind and be able to be comfortable while doing it, it's not going to happen. I don't care if you're dealing with a highly sensitive person that could be your child. I don't care if you could be dealing with a parent that's highly sensitive, a brother, a friend. What's going on? Anybody that has a highly sensitive nature, if you come at them with a lot of these things that are going to overstimulate them, then you're going to see how they respond, because everybody don't know how to deal with it and take it in. So you will see that, okay? But being sensitive is a good thing, as it cues you into the world around you. It alerts you to danger, and it also has a basis for empathy. We all need empathy. Anti-Semitism. Tell me what you mean by that. We need empathy. We definitely need that. So we gotta have the opportunity to have some type of understanding for sensitivity. That's all I'm saying. But being sensitive is a double-edged sword, as it can lead in a pro-social or in an egotistical direction. And boy, you don't want that. You do not want times to be switching up on you to where now you trying to figure out if this person really like you or not, because they 1 minute they over here like this, the next minute they over here like this, or you trying to understand if they're even accepting of who you are as a person, because you guys are having conversation and now you're just starting to feel the grunt and the brunt of everything, and they're not being themselves anymore, because it could be an ego thing as well. It's like, I know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like a person, okay, so say for instance, a person that is very understanding to people, and then they start to get like the big head about it. Everybody come to me, everybody do this, everybody do that. And then it starts to become something that makes them feel more superior. And in that superiority, now you're not even worried about being sensitive. You're just worried about you're just more consumed with being the go-to person. Not with what things are actually going to help you with. You just okay now with being that person that just oh that's me, I'm it type of thing. He says sensitivity circles around anti-Semitism. I didn't know that. Okay. So, but it can also take away from a lot of your credible life thinking skills. It can take away from the fact that you are a deep thinker and now you're not utilizing your actual thinking skills because you feel like you already know everything, or you feel like this is something that you've seen. So I know how to deal with it this way. But everything that you've done with one person, you will never have the same complete experience with another person that you're talking to about it. Everybody got their own different things going on. Even if they have similar situations, the way things are going in that situation can be a lot more different than that other person's thing. So you can't just always think that you can handle what you're going into without knowing what you're going into. So that highly sensitive stuff it becomes an issue, because things like this are going to be reasons as to why you're dealing with a highly sensitive person, a people pleaser. Like I said, somebody that's overstimulated, rejection, dysmorphia. It's when you experience severe emotional pain due to failure or rejection. And you may wish you could tolerate constructive criticism because you want to learn, but even a minor comment can feel like a slight that hurts too much. So, some sensitivity. Oh, he said some of it does. Okay. All right. I'm going to talk to you about that. All right. So procrastination falls up under a highly sensitive person, imposter syndrome, and distrust of others. Like, you start to literally live in a bubble because of the way that you have projected yourself and projected certain things of you because of your level of sensitivity. First and foremost, I want to say this. Being that we did say that being sensitive is a double-edged sword, um, being sensitive is a double-edged sword. I also want to say that you you won't find a whole lot of men admitting to the fact that they have sensitivity, that they're sensitive. If they have any issue to show you empathy or anything, they're just gonna do it. It's not gonna be something that they're sitting around here bragging about. But the sensitive male is also very misjudged and marginalized under the boys can't cry macho culture. Um, those who feel more are called weak or sissies. That's what it used to be called. It used to be called weak, sissies, and everything, with little acknowledgement of their unique strength. And many sensitive boys and men, well, being sensitive and intense is not an illness. In fact, we need to stop basically portraying that having empathy and sensitivity is a terrible thing. Hold on. I've never experienced a positive side of being a sensitive person. So I try to suppress it. I also try to keep my sons from being too sensitive. It's definitely a double-edged sword. I like that, Diallo. I actually like that comment because I've always kind of perceived being sensitive and being too sensitive as a issue myself, because it is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. It definitely is. I think that people take pure advantage of it, and that's why. So I don't look at it as if men teaching boys to be strong and all of that is a lack of sensitivity. I don't feel that. I don't think that way. What I do think is that they're putting that in their head because they do have to be protectors and they do have to be strong in a whole lot of areas. But I also think that there are forms of sensitivity that men learn along the way, even when they're watching their fathers with their mothers, when they're watching their mothers with their sisters, when they watch their fathers with their sons. Like, you can see where people show care and forms of protection and sensitivity. I just don't look at it as if it's actually a sensitive thing. I think that that's just a nurture spirit that people have in them. So, and I don't think that being a nurturer means you're sensitive. So, to me, the double-edged sword is knowing how to use that skill. And that's why I said we're born with those things, but we also get to build upon them. We get to see other people exemplifying those things without them even telling you that's what this is being sensitive. They telling you this is how you take care of people. This is how you care about somebody. This is how you love someone. I don't feel like that makes a person sensitive, but that's some of the formulations that they've said in these write-ups, in these resources, in this history, in these references, is that you are either not sensitive enough, or you're overly sensitive, or you are a person that demonstratizes sensitive people. That's all I've seen. So I think it's not just a stigma attached to being sensitive. It's what people you deem as sensitive for themselves. Because I told you, being sensitive is not teachable. That's not something you can just walk up to somebody and just teach. People experience a lot of those things from what they see, but you can't teach a person to be loving. They gotta want to be loving. That comes with the territory, right? Like, what I'm supposed to do? Hold your hand and show you how you're supposed to love on somebody, or show gratitude toward them for being in your life? They're there for a reason. If you don't know what that reason is, that's not my job to teach you that. No, though it's certain things that are just built on instinct. And sensitivity is one of those things. It's not something that you could just walk around and teach. But Diallo made a great point. He said, I'm not a sensitive person. I try to suppress it, but I also try to keep my sons from being too sensitive. And that, you know why, is because sensitivity has come with a lot of different meanings for men. It's not looked at in no positive light. It's just not. It doesn't provide positivity. And some men, because some of them be too sensitive, you be so sensitive to you forgetting that you have a role. A male has a role. Your domination tactics as a man, and that's superiority already. You're showing you don't even gotta be walk around like you beat everybody's ass or nothing. You just, you know what I'm saying? Your confidence and your that speaks volumes. How you move through your house speaks volumes. How you carry yourself when it comes to getting your children situated and all of that, those things speak volumes. It doesn't have to be described in a word. It's just what it is. A caring mother, you can't sum that up. You just know she caring. You can't even break down all the things that happen in that day that make that person caring. You can't break down all the things that make a man a man. That shit just happens. That stuff comes with the territory. But you can't, if you don't see it happening with a woman or a man, you don't see them being what you think that word means. I bet you can point it out. You may not be able to say, ooh, everything, you might, you know what I'm saying, everything he did today, and start keying it all off and saying all of that. You might not be able to run a list of what make that man a man, but you've paid enough attention to know what make that man a man. To know that if he doing shit that don't make him a man, you're gonna be able to point it out. What you've seen, what you learned along the way. It wasn't just taught to you, this is what a man is. Not no woman. A father shows a daughter that. Those are things that they learn. There's no handbooks of this stuff, guys. You can't. So when people say the stigma attached to sensitivity is made worse by trends, it has nothing to do with that. It's because y'all have put the word sensitive to a type of male. It's glued to a type of male. It's not a word that's being utilized because of traits that a person has anymore. It's just if they are a gay man or anything of that nature, especially if they're on the side of the gay side that want to be women, more on the I want to be woman side, it's more exemplified to be called sensitive. But a strong buff man, you don't even look at him as being that way. So the stigma hasn't just come from the world. The stigma has come from the fact that that's just the way it's been. Social media just makes stuff a little bit more stronger now, but we've been dealing with people being called things around the sensitive word since we were children. That's why people don't raise their boys to be sensitive. That's why people, and then they're also saying stuff like, it doesn't matter, you're just being too sensitive, or this isn't about feelings, so tuck your feelings. We ain't talking about your feelings, we talking about what's real. Because in abrupt conversations, when you start to see that a person is starting to get very emotional about the conversation because you throwing facts or you speaking this or you saying it in a way that they're not used to it being said, now they get in their emotions, and now you're going to start targeting their emotions by calling them too sensitive and too this or too that. That's the type of stuff we're talking about when we're saying that it becomes a form of emasculation, where if a person has any type of emotion involved in a conversation, I don't even think I use the words "you too sensitive." Like, why you being so? I don't think I say that, because if I have, I just don't recall any of it. To the point where it has taken away from a person's feelings, because I don't really see the reason. I don't think that disregard, because I feel like it's disregarding to the person. I feel like I'm telling them that something that they done or said, it don't matter. So I just don't worry about it. Like, I may say something else along the lines of a way to kind of gauge the conversation, but nothing on the lines of, oh man, like, I don't know, you probably was just being too sensitive. Nah, how you being is your business. But we give it too much, credit, we give it too much influence, and we give a lot of things a lot of credit and influence that it doesn't deserve. And this is another one of those things where you're saying that you're feeling emasculated by being called an emotional word. Damn, do y'all have uh any control of your emotions, to where I really would like to know that. Everybody be so quick to be like, that's emasculating. That's this, man. Why? Nothing that you are. If you're not that way, it shouldn't even bother you. I ain't finna sit up here and let what somebody else say to me have me up in arms. I barely care. But this is why this conversation is around, because we do have highly sensitive people. We have people who are very not aware of what and how to control their emotions in certain settings. We have people like that. We do. We got to learn who we are, though, so that we can be a benefit to ourselves first. Like, you even come around, like, a highly sensitive person will have panic disorders. They can be obsessive compulsive. They can be because these are mental issues that come with that. That's what I'm trying to say. A play on words could trigger a person into going into a mental state about stuff. It starts to give, if they're not born autistic, at some point they can go autistic. They can become depressed because I told you the main two reasons. Main two reasons was ego. I'll take that. And personal distress of why a person is highly sensitive. And then they start going into depression, social anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. So what is that? PTSD, generalized anxiety. You're allowing an emotion to turn you around because of people pointing out to you that you may have things that you stress over too much, or people point out to you that you got your past traumas might be controlling your current issues. These are just things that happen. It doesn't have to be stuck to a generalized word, because soon as somebody start hearing these trigger words that they too sensitive, guess what you're doing? You fucking with their emotions. Now all of a sudden they feeling like, oh my God. So what people say about me is true. I really need to work on this. I don't know about that. I'm really one of those people that believe that your strength and understanding of yourself can be so low that you can allow anybody to tell you what is wrong with you but you. It's not uncommon, but we got to be stronger than that, though. We gotta not allow things as an overstimulated brain, and stop going to these people and letting them just shoot you up with medicines and giving you pills. because they say you got a disorder or you got a mental illness based on something that you sit around here telling yourself. Like, people lie to themselves every day, but you ain't got to go and take pills for it. That ain't gonna stop you from lying to yourself. It's just not. It's not gonna stop you. Now some regular issues of being sensitive. You're grieving. That's a normal thing. You may be having your heart on your sleeve at that time. So it may be times where you get upset with things, with small things, and you blow them out of proportion just because you're going through one of those days. So that's a normal thing. These are reasons as to why you have empathy. This is empathy being shown to you on days as such. That definitely, Dante. You gotta know who you are. Your level of knowledge for self is going to be very beneficial to you in any type of things that you have to go through in your life. Knowledge of self, it's important. But yes, so grieving is one. You're going through a transition. You may have a lot more emotions, like moving from a different state to another state. After a divorce, you're moving, doing things differently. So those are reasons why you're probably going to be wearing your heart on your sleeve. Sometimes people are just physically ill, and then other times you are just genetically prone to being that way, and your past traumas. But those are as I stated, those are the things that people are saying, that the doctors are saying that it's okay to be empathetic to. It's okay. You can't feel taken advantage of when somebody is grieving. You can't feel taken advantage of when you're going through a transition or somebody's going through a transition. Like, those are things that you're supposed to be understanding of, and just like, okay, I get this. I understand why this is happening, and I understand why I'm going through this, and I understand this portion, and it'll get better. You're being accepting of your transition. You're being accepted of your grief, and you're being accepting of that. As long as you know what's going on up here while you're going through all those things, it's perfectly fine and it's perfectly normal. But you got to know, though. You can't have nobody coming in telling you, trying to explain to you about you when these moments are going on. A person being empathetic is one thing, but a person that's trying to tell you how you feeling, tell you how you should be feeling, any of those things, that's somebody bad for you, because they don't know. They ain't probably never even experienced it, and they got all this extra knowledge, all this extra help to be giving you. And you don't ever, when people going through their own shit, though, you don't never just come up and just be like, I know how you feel, because you don't. Everybody goes through stuff differently. Like, my feelings going to be totally different from your feelings, point blank, period. I don't care. Even if you may have lost your mom and I may have lost my mom, but our feelings toward how our losses are totally different. The way we gonna deal with it is totally different. So don't do that. It's that trying to be too empathetic and you sounding crazy. You're giving your condolences and loving on people and being there for them is not a figment of your imagination to just be making up shit. No. We're gonna leave that in la la land. You go over there with the truth, the facts. Wavelengths of feelings and reactions are very, very demonstrous during these times. I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to the news, and these people, family members, are going through some things. It's a lot of people that are passing away. And so when you're going through different wavelengths of losses, you're going through different wavelengths of transitions, and you're going through different wavelengths of different things that are happening in your life, your levels of your thinking levels are going to fluctuate, your feeling levels are going to fluctuate, your care, your eating levels are going to fluctuate, your drinking levels, whatever you're feeling will start to have a different variance on how you deal with day-to-day things. A lot of times people change on even dealing with day-to-day things. They'll switch that shit up, and now it's like, instead of me planning for the month, I'm just planning for the day. Things happen to make people change how they view stuff. But whenever you have these different wavelengths that you're going through in life, you still have to make sure that you're guarded and guarding you yourself is guarding how you react, because it's always somebody waiting to tell you you fucked up. It's always somebody waiting to tell you that you can't do that, or you acting a certain type of way, or you doing this, or you doing that. It's always somebody waiting to do that now. It's somebody. It's somebody waiting to see or cease or have that opportunity to be able to tell you what you did wrong, because they ain't never been able to do it. So how you react is going to matter. Are you giving them empathy in your reaction? Are you talking big? Because remember, I told you, they said sensitivity comes with ego. If you the one that everybody think she know this and he know that, and he don't want to come around because he think he better than everybody. If you're that person that has been thrown on the blacklist, then yeah, you're one of the people that they're discussing. that they don't want around when they're dealing with their issues, because at some point you're now putting them all in a ball of what they're going through and what they're dealing with, and you're not really, I said in the beginning, you're not studying people enough anymore to see that everybody don't deal with things and handle things the same way. So if you're one of those people that have started to disregard everybody and start focusing on what you see in the situation more than what they're telling you they see, you're the ones that they're calling overly hyped and overly sensitive. Sensitivity ain't always positive. That double-edged sword will come and snip you. It'll snip you both sides. Fuck around and find out, because you on one foot you pretending to be this person who cares and shows all of this, and on the other foot you don't give a damn about nothing, or you care too much. At some point that don't work. You working against each other. It's working against each other. You gotta choose a side, or just don't even worry about putting up that type of aura. I already told you before, if you're raised by a man that's showing you what to do with your woman or with your children, you're already gonna pick up on how to be a caring ass man. A word don't describe that. These are things you just learn along the way. And a lot of us are missing out on that because we didn't get it. We weren't shown that. So now anytime you come out your mouth the wrong way, or against the opposite of what somebody else say, now you overly sensitive. You too much, you doing too much, you doing too less, you doing this. You need to be a man, or you need to be a woman. You over here acting like a little girl. As soon as you express yourself in a way that's unfamiliar to other people, it becomes an issue. And that's why you have to choose your battles with sensitivity. It's not because nobody don't want you to have feelings or have care. It's because you just need to know when to utilize it. You're not always in a room with somebody who wants to see you be your organic self. You're not always in those areas. You really aren't. And you and not in more than none, you're not around people that want to see you do well all the time. You only in certain situations are you around people like that care. But in all your situations, you got to know how to be able to deal, because I don't know. I don't even go into situations thinking that I need to. I don't have to pep talk myself and say, man, you got to think about other people's feelings when you're in here now. All right, I don't have to pep talk myself in that. That's a human nature. If I supposed to know that already, right? Again, don't I supposed to know that if a person is sharing their story and all that, it's better just be quiet. I don't have to expound on it or jump into the conversation like I've been there or I have understanding for that. You don't have to be empathetic in every situation. Every situation ain't for you. So coming into something, just being a part of a crowd or a situation that day, and now all of a sudden you over there talking about, you over there making up shit, giving stories and situations that ain't never happened. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. And I see it all the time in the workforce. But like, I know this shit ain't true. But you just stay right there, you just listen. You see it all the time. So but don't be that person though. Don't be that person that's adding on to something that ain't, and now people looking at you like you finna get them a profound ass story, and you really just gave them 3 lines of BS. Now they looking at you crazy. Don't get in there with all that. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. And another thing that lets you know that you're getting too aroused by somebody else's situation is you start to pick up others' moods because they're going through their thing. You start to pick up their moods, and it starts to have an effect on you more than they got an effect on them. It happens. It definitely happens. So make sure that if you know that you have any of those ideals that show you that you may suffer from some acts of what the mental world call overly sensitive, take your time to try to de-stress yourself. Try to find ways that keep you in an organized, patterned lifestyle that you don't have to be trying to combat something that ain't worth even fighting. Because being yourself and actually just giving exactly who you are in a situation is 100% better than you trying to gravitate toward what you seen at somebody else's house or you seen on a movie. It works with those people that they're with. I'm telling you, I keep saying everything ain't for everybody. How he handles his situation with his wife ain't gonna be how you can handle your situation with yours. Your wife ain't his wife. We got to stop thinking that everything works the same around here. That's why you gotta stop peeking at other people's yard and shit. That's why. Right now. Cause checking out that grass ain't doing nothing but make you look crazy if you think that you finna come here and cut a rug or cut a food how such and such just did. So make sure you're thinking about that. When you in situations, focus on what's helpful for you. Focus on what helps you get through things without having to go down that rabbit hole of trying to find out a way to fix the situation that makes you a people pleaser, to fix the situation that makes you hyperactive, to where your heart be not your chest because you're trying to figure something out so deeply, so strongly, when you really should just be breathing deep and letting it go. We put too many feelings into things that are not even worth it half the time. We overthinking it. We're putting too much anxiety on ourselves, trying to be everybody's hero when you can't even lay your head down at night without a million thoughts running through on your own. So you got to save you first. And nobody gonna be, you can't be a benefit to nobody if you're not a benefit to yourself first. So we got to prevent falling into traps that makes us start to have these situational things, because overstimulants ain't got to be something that happens to you all the time, but the older you get, your body starts to respond differently to certain situations. It starts to allow you to feel differently when things are happening. You don't want to get caught up in not knowing what's going to transpire because you don't know how to deal with your feelings. You don't. You do not. You can be by yourself one day and now you done got overhyped. Heart about to bust out your chest. What you gonna do? You got to care about you first, man. It's just too many things. And I think I've always felt like the older you get, the more peace you have, and it lets you know that you're your peace builder. You're the person who gives yourself that peace. Yes. Don't learn how to deal with overly stimulant situations. Any situation that has you sitting around here questioning what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Let it go. Deal with it easier. Let that shit go first, though. If you know that that's the real barrier, is trying to get away from it. Get away from it. Take you some time off from it. You know what I'm saying? And try to figure things out. And see if that's really something that you should be dealing with, because if things are sending you through a different loop in a different time zone every now and again, then it's an issue. So you don't need to be caught up in that. We be too caught up in shit that is supposed to be happening on the outside, and we got to focus right here, and we don't know how to make ourselves focus. So drop the syndromes that people are giving you. Realign yourself up with shit that matters to you, and make sure you put yourself in situations that only you are going to be the person that's controlling it, especially when it comes to you. That's the outcome. Making sure you're in control of you. Knowledge of self. All right. Whew, that's my sensitivity conversation, y'all. I hope I wasn't too rough about it, because I'm not an overly sensitive person. I think I have a whole lot of understanding for the portion of the conversation that says, girl, you ain't got to do that. And I'd be happy. But I know on the other foot, I know people who are hyperly sensitive. And I'd be like, whew. But I'm also there for them because I have understanding for them. Because I have knowledge of me. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all, man. I will see y'all next Wednesday. Y'all always, before you try to check somebody else, check yourself. And be good to yourself. We're gonna catch y'all back next Wednesday. Got another good conversation for you, another good topic. This one is going to be a little bit more interactive. I've been wanting to get these conversations done though, because we are going through a different time, and I need people to be more self-aware and more loving to who they are, and more understanding. So that's why these conversations have been had in the last couple of weeks. I needed y'all to be in tuned for those type of things. But we got a more involved conversation next week. So y'all get ready for that. I'm going to check y'all out there. Y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.